A loss and series so bad, we need props. That's right, I've got the pillow out. Angels offense puts us to sleep again in another embarrassing loss to complete a disgraceful sweep at the Big A. We'll discuss it all on tonight's edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast right now.
You are Locked On Angels Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
That's right, folks. I had to pull out the pillow for this one. Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and welcome to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game here on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel and after the fact, wherever you get the Locked On Angels podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, Gavin Carlson. I spent 4 years as a credentialed journalist in the LA area. I'm now, of course, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, and boy, you can tell I'm frustrated. I am so frustrated. I'm trying to keep it in. It's my job to talk about this team. It's not my job to yell at you, the innocent, kind viewer who joins me every single day to talk about our Angels. But my, oh my. You can only do two things, really, when it comes to this game and this series. You can either just go to bed, because if you watch the game, there's a good chance you got some extra sleep, or you can yell. Rightfully so. Try not to punch a wall or something like that as much as you may want to. I'm going to try to do neither. I'm going to try to talk about this game. I'm going to let you know how I feel, certainly. I'm going to express my opinion. But man, oh man, there are things I cannot say on this stream about how I feel about the Angels right now. Shout out to everybody in here. I see similar sentiments being expressed in this comment section, and I don't blame you. I mean, just how do you lose the same exact way 3 times in a row? Just the same exact way. We're going to get into all of it on tonight's show. We'll talk about a rare, really poor start from Tyler Anderson. We'll talk about Hunter Strickland with an abysmal end to this game, pitching-wise. We'll talk about the Angels scoring 2 runs, and that's it. But we'll start, of course, ripping into just about everything with this team. At this point, we don't need a structure to these darn postcasts. You want to hear what I think about the game, what it means for the bigger picture of this franchise, because we know an individual game means nothing at this point. But shout out to all of you in here. Appreciate you guys so much. And the one thing I will say is after a game like this, after a series like this, it makes me appreciate you guys even more, because it's no secret. It's a lot more fun to talk about the Angels, to listen to me talking about the Angels when, you know, they're winning or they're competing or there's something to be excited about. So for you guys to continue to join me every single night, it shows you, one, really care about this team, but also you appreciate me, you appreciate the postcast, and you know I appreciate you. So before we jump into this one, quick shout out to the sponsor of today's show. It is Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Now, in yesterday's postcast, we introduced it, Gavins, good, bad, and ugly, and here's the routine, here's the schedule, here's the plan. When there is a game like tonight, like the last handful of games where there is not, normally if it's a close game, I'm going to come in and start by talking about how the game ends. Obviously, if there's a game where maybe it's not super close, but there's a turning point, maybe the Angels win a game 9-4, and there was an inning in the 4th inning that turned the tide. That's the story, right? In a game like this, where there's no close ending, where there's no key moment, we're starting with Gavin's good, bad, and ugly right away. And today, let's not waste any time getting to the ugly, okay? The good, Matt Dice hit a home run, yippee. Oh, we had an RBI on a sac fly with Taylor Ward in the 9th inning when you're already down by 8 runs. Yippee. Okay, the good's done. You don't deserve more than 10 seconds, Angels, of good. What's the bad? The bad is Tyler Anderson. He was not good. Hunter Strickland in the 9th inning was not good. But I don't want to waste any time getting to the ugly. We'll talk about the bad in the next segment. We got to get to the ugly. And I'm not going to repeat myself as much as this performance would allow me to repeat myself, because the ugly has been the same ugly for the past handful of games. This team can't hit the ball, period. They hit one solo home run every game, and that's it. They are abysmal with runners in scoring position. We know that. 0 for 7. How are you even? They're amazing me. How in the world are you 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position when you only have 3 hits? It's like you're getting the runners in scoring position more than you even deserve tonight, and you're still doing nothing with it. The Blue Jays hit the Angels multiple times. They walked the Angels 3 times. They had an error, and you still don't score a run outside of a solo shot and a 9th inning sac fly. It's really amazing, okay? But I'm not going to waste time. Believe it or not, for any other team, really at this point, saying something like 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position is a huge deal. It's the A story. It's the number one thing. Not for the Angels in 2024. That is par of the course at this point. Here is my ugly, okay? And it really hurts for me to associate this man with that word because with all accounts, everybody in this league, whether you're a player, a manager, a coach, a former player, an announcer, a journalist, a fan, everybody agrees that Ron Washington is class personified as a man. That he has experienced and forgotten more baseball than I or any of you will ever know. He has more knowledge of baseball in his pinky than I have and will ever have. All right? So I do, and I have defended this man all season because he does not deserve much criticism. Ron Washington. But I'm going to say the ugly has to be assigned to Ron Washington tonight. And it's not because of anything specific that he did tonight. Hear me out. This team has lost the same way for this entire series and the series before. You can't hit in general. You literally cannot hit with runners in scoring position. Literally 0 for 7 tonight. But Gavin, Ron Washington can't grab the bat and go hit. Ron Washington can't tell, Brandon Drury and Anthony Rendon and a lot of other, I'm not going to say mean words, but a lot of guys that can't hit a baseball right now. He can't go out there and change their ways and tell them how to be able to hit a baseball. They're paid millions in order to do that, Gavin. Why is this Ron Washington's fault? I get it. And 99.9% of the time, I'm with you. But you can't lose the exact same way every time, okay? At some point, you got to try something new. And I get it. This is not football. This is not basketball. This is not a sport where the coach can call a different play in football. The coach can have a different starting lineup and then call different plays, run the offense through a different person, like in basketball. I get it. But dang it, at this point, I would rather see this team have 12 failed drag bunts tonight. I'd rather see this team have their hands on the barrel. They're choking up so much, trying to get base hits. I'm not, and sometimes I would say if I've said things like this in the past on a postcast, maybe it's a bit of hyperbole, okay? And still it is to some degree. Obviously, I don't want their hands literally on the barrels. But other times, even just the drag bunt comment or anything like that, maybe in the past, after one bad game or something, it's me exaggerating a little bit. I'm dead serious in that I would be down to watch this team attempt 15 drag bunts tonight. You lose a different way. You can't lose the exact same way every night. Fall behind, show absolutely zero life, have 1 or 2 base hits, hit a solo home run, do nothing else till the 9th inning. You can't keep losing the same way. It's useless. And as much as I have been clamoring for this team to stick with Nolan Shanuel at the leadoff spot, to stick with Logan O'Hoppe batting third, to stick with Michael Stefanik and have him up higher in the lineup, because we're trying to build for next year and for the year after that. I don't care at this point, man. Change the lineup however you want. Hit whoever you want hitting first and second and third. Literally put all the fastest guys at the top of the order and tell them we are drag bunting until someone gets on. I don't care at this point. You can't keep losing the same way every night. It's ridiculous. And so that's why, Ron Washington, I've defended you so much. And even this might be an unfair criticism because it's baseball. You can't change the way people hit. But man, you got to try something new. And hitting Anthony Rendon second is not trying something new in any serious way. I'm talking change approaches. Tell guys, if you're striking out, you're doing it wrong. Tell guys, if you don't make contact, if you don't only swing at strikes, I don't know, anything, change it up. You got to change something. It's not my job to know what in the world you're supposed to change. But we were promised a couple things. We were promised good, fundamental, error, mistake-free baseball. We were promised small ball. We were promised hitting for contact, going the opposite way, getting on base, and then stealing a base, and then having a sac bunt, and then having a sac fly. And I'll keep saying it. I get it. You can't have a sac bunt if you're not on base. You can't have a sac fly if nobody ever gets to third. But darn it, figure it out. Try something new. If you fail a different way, I'm not going to criticize you. I'm going to say, you know what? You tried. You put Kevin Pillar and Mickey Moniak and Michael Stefanik at the top of the lineup because they are contact, speedy guys, and you tried to have drag bunts to get them on. I don't care. Try something else. I'm tired of watching Willie Calhoun and Matt Dice and Luis Guillerme just like blindly swing at pitches. I'm tired of watching there be one solo home run, a couple walks, a base hit here or there. Just change. Just do something crazy, radical, something that's never been seen before in baseball. I don't care. And it might sound ridiculous, but I don't really care, to be honest. Tell me if you disagree. I, of course, will respect that. I want to hear if you guys disagree. If you think, Gavin, this is being unfair to Ron Washington. But I am dead serious when I say as a fan, first and foremost. Not as someone who talks about this team every night. Not as someone who has watched this team more closely this year than in any other year. Because I have a responsibility now to talk to you guys about this team every night. Not coming from any of those points of view. Coming strictly as a fan. What do you want to watch? Do you want to watch this team lose 9-2 the same way every night? No. I'd rather watch this team lose 9-2 because they bunted 15 times to get on base and got on a couple times. Or, swing for the fences every pitch. If it was a different type of team. But that's what this team already does. You got to change something. And Roger, I'd agree with you to some degree. You say, Gavin, it's called a slump. Sorry, I clicked the wrong comment. He just said, Gavin, it's called a slump. Yes and no. Individual player slump. If the entire team is slumping, you got to change it. That's your job as a manager. And just look at the pitching staff. Sure, tonight is not the best night to say this, but the pitching has exceeded expectations all year. And that's not the opposite of a slump. That's not a hot streak. That's not, ebbs and flows of a baseball season. Just give credit to the baseball gods. No, what have I been doing all year? I've been giving Ron Washington and the coaching staff credit for this pitching staff exceeding expectations, given the personnel. So if I can give the coaching staff all the credit for the pitching performances, and not say, oh, it's called luck, it's called a hot streak, it's called the ebbs and flows of baseball. If I can be positive in saying that about the pitching, I can be negative in saying that about the hitting. And not to say, oh, it's a slump, oh, it's a rough streak. Oh, no. You've lost the same night, or the same way every night for the past handful of games. Change it up. Change it up. You can't get swept the same exact way 3 nights in a row. That's just me. You can disagree. You can disagree. And you know how I always say it. I always say I'd rather have real stats to back stuff up and talk about, they hit the curveball this many times, but not the fact. It's not any of that right now. This team can't hit anything. It doesn't matter if the pitcher is a stud. It doesn't matter if the pitcher is a Jose Barrios, who's a pretty good starter, or if it's a former reliever that's not any good, converted to a starter. It doesn't matter if Kevin Gausman or the bullpen or anything. This is a hittable rotation. This is a hittable bullpen in the Blue Jays. And there's nothing to show for it. At some point, you got to look at the man up top and say, do a little bit more. Change it up. And if you change it up and it doesn't lead to success, at least you tried. That's just me. You can disagree. You have every right to, but I don't think it's a crazy take to say a team that literally has gone about 5 of 4 million with runners in scoring position the last week, who, other than a couple solo shots, literally has no hits to their name, I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world to say it's time to change up the approach a little bit. Choke up to the nth degree. Bunt 10 times as much as you've been doing. Every time you get on base, try to steal. I don't care. Do it. Change it up. And if you lose 9-2 that way, at least you tried something else. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, we'll talk more about Tyler Anderson's start because it was not good. And once again, we know this team's a momentum team, and it does not help that this team fell behind early and often. It was 6-0 at one point. We know that when this team falls behind 6-0, the game's over. So we'll talk about Tyler Anderson, the rare, really poor start from him, and then we'll look forward to having the day off tomorrow and having a new series after that. We'll take our first break, and we'll be right back on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, today's show is brought to you by Liquid IV. And man, do I need some Liquid IV. Because I'm grumpy, okay? I'm grumpy. I might be a little dehydrated. It's hot. I'm always sweating. I've had people telling me lately that when they watch the postcast, it looks like I'm, like, shiny, that I have makeup on, that I'm a wax figure. We've had comments that I look like a candle or Vaseline. That's what I got because of how shiny I am, because I'm sweating. But you know what I do to make up for the fact that I'm sweating all the time? I use Liquid IV. Because when you're taking in America's pastime, even when they don't, your favorite team doesn't know how to hit a baseball, don't forget to hydrate with Liquid IV's Popsicle Firecracker flavor, a surefire summer hit. Get hydrated with electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients from the #1 powdered hydration brand in America, because baseball and summer go together like Liquid IV and indulgent hydration. What is Liquid IV? It's a scientifically formulated to quickly replenish electrolytes and fluids lost from sweat or exercise. It has 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, plus 8 vitamins and nutrients, all in a single stick. 1 stick of Liquid IV in 16 ounces of water provides superior hydration than water alone. Tear, pour, live more. 1 stick plus 16 ounces of water. It's better than water alone. Powered by LIV Hydroscience, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients. It turns ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. And it's always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. So, no more thirsty summers when you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. And today's show is also brought to you by, once again, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports because unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every week, from lowering select players' stat projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy. Back here live on Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On Angels Postcast. I'm Gavin Carlson, and I did just kind of rip into Ron Washington a little bit, and I know it's not popular, and I don't like it myself. I don't like doing it because I like Ron Washington a lot. I think he's a great manager. I think he was the right choice for this team. I think this is a young team that needs a hands-on, honest, emotional leading manager like Ron Washington, a, old-fashioned, hard-nosed, fundamental baseball, small ball, nothing flashy, disciplined manager who's also a great man and a good character guy, a role model. Ron Washington is all of that. So don't take anything I said in the first segment and say Gavin's not a fan of Ron Washington. Gavin's being unrealistic. Gavin's being unfair to him. I've defended him all here. And I still give him and the rest of the coaching staff a lot of credit for helping this starting lineup, or this starting rotation that has a bunch of guys that aren't even starting pitchers, and this bullpen that literally traded away 2 of their best arms and has been calling guys up and guys coming back from injury and all this stuff. And they've all exceeded expectations. So I'm giving him his credit. And I still think that the starting lineup, to some degree, has exceeded expectations hitting-wise. But when you have this many games in a row of the exact same issue, the exact same issues, a lack of hits in general, an unbelievable lack of hits with runners in scoring position, the 1 home run and nothing else, you got to change it up, okay? And that's just that. I know I said it a million times. I'm going to say it 1,000,001. That's just how I feel. Let's talk about Tyler Anderson, because Tyler Anderson has been great. We know coming into this one, he was 9-10. Jose Barrios was 10-9, even though Barrios barely had under a 4 ERA, and Tyler Anderson had under a 3 ERA. But tonight, Tyler Anderson was not good. 6 hits allowed, 7 earned runs because he had 4 walks and gave up 2 home runs. Now look at the variety, the difference there between that and what the Angels do offensively. The Blue Jays don't have a bajillion hits. All right? They don't. And sure, they rely on the home run to some degree, but they hit with runners in scoring position. A little bit. 2 for 5 is a whole lot better than 0 for 7. You take advantage of 4 walks. You take advantage of when you do get hits, when you have 6 hits, you turn it into 7 runs because you hit 2 home runs because you have multiple big innings. All right? And Tyler Anderson just didn't have his stuff tonight. We know his stuff is not crazy electric. We know he is primarily a good pitcher, a good locator, has a nice changeup, tries to force weak contact, and we know the underlying metrics are not friendly with Tyler Anderson. The exit velocity stats and some of that stuff, higher on him than you'd expect for a guy who's had such a great ERA, who's been so successful. Maybe he's having a lot of hard hit balls get hit to gloves and stuff. But at the end of the day, he has been great. Today, he was not. 2 runs in the second, 1 run in the third, 3 in the fifth. He only lasts 5 innings, 5 2/3, excuse me. Gives up 7 runs in 5 2/3. It wasn't good. And Hunter Strickland was not great either. We had a good outing from Hans Kraus, just 1 inning, strikes out 2 of the 3 batters. Jose Quijada, he walks a guy, but he strikes out 2 in his scoreless inning. And then Hunter Strickland comes in the 9th. The game's already over. Just throw strikes, okay, whatever. And to some degree, you would think that if there's a guy you'd want to be in to just throw strikes when you're down that many runs, it's Hunter Strickland, right? Just throw strikes, just throw strikes, just throw strikes. He gets George Springer to line out. He gives up a single to Dalton Varsho on a first pitch cutter that's not a bad pitch. And then he runs into Vladdy Jr. And Vladdy Jr., we know we've talked about it a couple times in this series. Angels fans dreaming that this guy can be an Angel like his dad. He continues a red-hot series. It was a red-hot series for a lot of Blue Jays hitters with a great swing. A 1-2 slider, not at all where Hunter Strickland wants it. You want that slider down and away, or at least down. But that one is middle in, slider. Vladdy waits on it, and boy, does he crush it. It's not easy to hit that pitch to center field. That's a pitch you expect him to rip down the line. But he hit it 400 feet, 103.7 exit velo to left center on a slider inside. He was all over it. And then from there, Hunter Strickland loses it. You're down 9-1. How in the world? I don't care if you just gave up a 2-run shot. Your job is just to throw strikes and get this game over with as quick as possible. How in the world is there a 4-pitch walk the next at-bat? That made me more angry than the 2-run home run. And that's what I mean. Maybe I'm an unconventional fan. Maybe I'm unconventional in saying I'd rather have this team have 10 failed drag bunts when you're doing what you're doing offensively. Maybe I'm an unconventional fan and baseball mind when I say the 4-pitch walk after the 2-run home run is more frustrating than the 2-run home run. But that's how I feel because I understand the context. And the context is you're down 7-1 coming into this inning, throw strikes. You throw strikes, you gave up a 2-run home run, oh well. But keep throwing strikes. How in the world is there a 4-pitch walk on the next at-bat with the bases empty when you're down 9-1? Throw a darn strike. You're a professional pitcher, man. That's what infuriates me. It's not that this team that is roster-wise one of the worst in the league is not magically winning every game. I get it. This team stinks. They're going to lose a lot. But the basic things, man. How is there a 4-pitch walk down 9-1? Just end the darn game. Throw strikes. Bottom of the 9th, the Angels do their typical thing of making sure they score 1 run in the 9th, so it looks a little less bad than it was. But how does it start? It starts with a hit by pitch from Rendon, then and advancing to second base on some weird stuff. Willie Calhoun walks with 1 out, so it's first and third with 1 out, and then Taylor Ward has a sac fly. Yippee-ki-yay, to cut the lead. It's like those memes. Chris Paul hits the 3 to cut the lead to 50. Yeah, that's what it is every night with the Angels. Taylor Ward hits a sac fly to cut the lead to 50. It's 9-2 after the sac fly, and then as always, this team loves to end on a strikeout. Boy, do they love to end on a strikeout. One thing I'll say too, Pretty embarrassing and disgraceful that the loudest cheers of the night in a game between the Los Angeles Angels and a team from Canada is when the Angels strike out to end the game. That was louder than the cheers when Matt Dice hits the home run or when Taylor Ward hits the sac fly. Ridiculous. Embarrassing. And any other adjective you can think of, it's that too. We're going to take our last break here. Sorry if I seem a little grumpy, a little grouchy, but I think you understand why. This team is frustrating. We're going to take our last break, and then we're going to look at your comments. We're going to wrap this one up. I'm already going above time, so we'll get to your comments and wrap this one up after our last break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Today's show is also brought to you by Ibotta. Are you taking that dream vacation this summer, but dreading the cost? Luckily, I already have. I took mine to New York. It was great. Hopefully, if you have, I hope it was great. If you haven't, are you taking that dream vacation later this summer and dreaming about it, but dreading the costs? With Ibotta, you get cash back on all of your purchases, so you can spend more time making memories this summer and less time dreaming about them. And it's also summertime, which means it's also barbecue season. Stock up on all of your grilling favorites and earn cash back on every purchase when you use Ibotta. So you won't have to choose between burgers or hot dogs. You can get both. Ibotta is a free app that lets you earn cash back every time you shop, earn on hundreds of items from groceries to beauty supplies, even toys. So you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibotta user earns $256 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, that flight you've been eyeing, or the fancy dinner you've been craving. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store and use code LOCKEDONMLB. And finally, today's show is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Back here live one more time on a frustrating night. The Angels get swept at home to a bad team. The Angels are bad, but so are the Blue Jays, and yet the Angels get swept. They get outscored about 1,000,000,000-2, 9-2 tonight. A blowout loss yesterday, close loss, but underwhelming and misleading scores because this team has done nothing with runners in scoring position. They like to score a couple runs late when it doesn't matter. They fall 9-2. They get swept. Another 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. But not only was the hitting bad tonight, we also had poor outings from Tyler Anderson. Hunter Strickland was not good. Just everything that can go wrong did go wrong tonight and did go wrong this whole series. I've talked a lot tonight because I'm angry. We're going to get to your comments and then just wrap this one up because it's late and I've already babbled a lot. Okay? Jeff, as always, first, he says, sweep, just checking in. I knew it would get swept, but I was hoping we only lose by a run and not by 7 actually. See you tomorrow. This will not last forever. No, tomorrow. They have the day off tomorrow, but I'll see you on Friday. Skylar says, you know what? Someone has to say it. The Toronto Blue Jays needed a get-right series, and we were it. Honestly, I'm disgusted by this team, and we deserve to get swept. That was the most pathetic, heartless, disrespectful form of baseball I've seen in a long time. We don't know how to work the count. We don't know how to put quality at-bats together. What are we doing? And that's why I'm saying that it's not crazy and hyperbole and ridiculous to say drag bunts, choke up the bat, change the lineup, do anything. Do anything. You might as well, because Skylar's right, and I said it too. It's not just that this team's in a slump. And Roger, I respect your opinion, but I respectfully disagree. It's not just that this team is in a slump, because you can't have you can have one or two guys be in a slump. When the entire team is in a slump, you have to change something. You have to change something. Anaheim Angels says we should just send the whole team down to the minors and call up the Trash Pandas. Yeah, honestly, Christian Moore, he might be the best hitter on this team pretty darn soon. And look what happens when you take Zach Neto out of the lineup, too. That's another thing. More talk about this being a momentum team. You take Zach Neto out, and this team has no life. No life. It makes you wonder if Mike Trout was in this lineup, Will there be some more excitement? If Mike Trout, if Rengifo, if Neto, if Ohapi, if that's the lineup, maybe the momentum team that this is, there's positive vibes. But right now, there's nothing. Skylar adds, and Skylar has a lot to say tonight. This game was over when I saw Rendon in the 2-hole instead of Neto. Yep, there he read my mind. It's what I just said. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I'm embarrassed that I'm an Angels fan, and Toronto gave us what we deserved. Vent over. Yeah. Angels win, says embarrassing game. Gonna get worse. I don't see them beating the Braves. Yeah, Braves. But like people have been saying, knowing the Angels, they'll sweep the Braves. They'll sweep the Braves. Although right now, there's no reason to even think that other than the Angels being the Angels, because they have shown no life. It's not like they're losing tight games or losing games where they show life and just stuff. They're showing no life. No life. Anaheim Angel, honestly, Neto is the only one that can stay on this roster right now. Yep. Angels win, says I'd put Ohapi also there. Skylar, even though he struggled lately, yes, of course, we're not going to doubt Ohapi in the future. He'll be okay. More talk on that. Anaheim Angel says, well, most of the roster can go down. Obviously, that's not possible. One can hope. Just looking forward to some call-ups and how that can possibly change what we are lacking. Vladdy Jr., another home run. Anaheim Angel says, hey guys, don't we get free Chick-fil-A if more than 7 runs are scored? Oh, you mean the Angels need to score 7 runs? Never mind. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I've heard that ad a couple times. That's a ridiculous number for most teams. Okay? In basketball, it seems like it's always free money. It's like if they score more than 100 points, we give away free fries. Basketball in 2024, everybody scores more than 100 points. If you don't, you're terrible, right? In this day and age in the NBA. Or it'll be like if the other team has any moment in any quarter where they miss 2 free throws in a row, it's free fries or something. For the Angels, it's score 7 runs? This team? If it was the Yankees and it was score 7 runs, you're getting that once every 4 or 5 games. It's the Angels. You're getting that once a month, man. Ridiculous. Yeah. Hilarious. Yeah. Hey, look, everyone saying exactly what I'm saying. Angels win, says last year was 5 runs for each Chick-fil-A. This year, 7. They think we wouldn't have to give out many free sandwiches. Yep. Silent E. I don't think I've ever seen you before. Wow, that is an hilarious profile pic. Wow, that is hilarious. Wow. I don't even know what to say. I've never seen that. That is hilarious. He says, you're a good man, Gavin. I've been screaming expletives and such for the last hour and a half. Yep, completely valid. Welcome to you. My first time seeing you comment. So welcome. Daniel Barry always just saying hello and happy Wednesday, trying to keep it positive. Yep, no home runs. Like we already saw Rogers say that it's called a slump. I respectfully disagree. Angels win, disagreeing with me, saying that they've exceeded. I assume he's talking about me talking about the pitching. I think they have. I know on a night like tonight you don't think it, but look at the names that are in this rotation. Carson Fulmer, Davis Daniel, Kohanowitz, Griffin Canning, Jose Soriano at the beginning of the year was a random bullpen arm. I still think they've exceeded expectations. He also adds, I'd rather see them hire Torrey Hunter. Hey, I don't think it's fire on Washington or anything like that. Anthony Menez checking in. It's tough being an Angels fan. Game's over within the first 2 innings. Yep. And he adds, is liquid IV available in Ibotta? I'm not sure, to be honest, but maybe. Everyone's laughing about it. Angels win, says the liquid IV firecracker popsicle is delicious. Good to know. I haven't tried it yet. I do drink liquid IV, but I haven't had that flavor yet. Good to know. A lot of laughing emojis because at this point, all this podcast can be is laughing about sponsors and about how bad this team is. But one last thing I'll say before I wrap this one up. If we continue to have games like this, tell me what you prefer. Do you prefer a show like this where I'm kind of ranting, kind of breaking down the game, and then interacting with you guys? Do you want more of one thing or the other? Do you want more rants? Do you want more interaction? Do you want more breaking down the game still, even though the games are boring? Do you want me to talk about random stuff the last 5, 6, 7 minutes to make it exciting and interesting? Let me know in the comments because I want to cater this show to what you guys want. And unfortunately, based on how this team is playing, we have to prepare for a lot more games like this where the game itself is brutal. But with all that being said, Angels lose 9-2. Angels get swept. We have the day off tomorrow. We're back on Friday. New series against the Braves. Probably not going to go well, but we'll see. We'll still hold out some hope because that's what we as Angels fans do. Although, honestly, no, not really hope. Just like, I guess hope is the right word. Not like optimism, but just like, hey, hopefully they do well, right? That's all you can do at this point. But we'll take tomorrow off. Rejoin me here on Friday. Appreciate the support as always. Leave a like, leave a comment. I am Gavin Carlson. I'm signing off. And as always, even after a sweep, go Halos. I'll see you all here on Friday night. Have a great night, everybody.